To me, what I like to do, and I do it for small things as well as big things, is I try to imagine what the worst case scenario is. Okay, it helps a lot. It sounds strange, but it helps a lot. So, for example, let's say I have to get my passport renewed and I'm running late. This is to me a tense thing because I am a punctual person. I hate being late, right? So I would imagine, what's the worst case scenario? Could I possibly be the first guy to ever show up late for their passport appointment? And as soon as you realize that that's not going to be the case, I'm sure that this passport office has dealt with somebody who showed up late for an appointment, then the emotion of the challenge sort of fades down a little bit, right? So when I travel alone on a motorcycle, there is always that fear, right? What happens if the motorcycle breaks down? What's your worst case scenario? You're going to have to call a truck. If you call a truck, it'll going to be very inconvenient, because you'll have to wait a few hours for this thing to show up, and then the bike will have to be loaded, and then will they take you along with the bike, in which case you'll be sitting in a smelly, uncomfortable truck cabin, or worse, right? Or you'll have to figure out a vehicle that can accompany the truck, which is another bunch of... Okay, so this is your worst case scenario.
Yeah.
In either case, your worst case scenario is a truck will have to come and get you, right? And very small situations can become extremely complicated, right? If you know Priyanka Kochar, a bike with girl,
Yeah.
she fell off her bike and the bike went down the side in Ladakh. Where was physically her location? She was about, I think, 45 feet below the road. Don't hold me for the number, it's something like that. Her problem was nobody knew she'd fallen off.
Yeah.
And she was 50 feet from help. But the problem was nobody could see her. And then it took an army truck to look down, spot the bike or her, I forget now which. And then they created the rescue. Right? To me, the first 2 or 3 things that I would do is first learn to ignore the motorcycle or the car. A lot of people are invested in their machines, so they immediately start focusing on that first. And I know of cases, I think, where boyfriends and girlfriend riding together had a crash and the guy ran to the bike first.
Oi.
Right? Which is not healthy for the girlfriend at all. And it's not, I think, healthy for the relationship either.
This sounds like a meme stuff, man.
It almost sounds like a meme, but I know this is the case, including one couple who were together later for years together. I think they got married. And the girl had a huge burn scar on her thigh because while he was rescuing the motorcycle, it was resting on her leg. And the girl says the clear point of this was that he was rescuing the bike, not the fact that I was stuck under it. So the idea was to check the other side of the bike more than extricate girlfriend from under bike. Okay. So first, I think the first thing you have to do is, if you can imagine the worst case scenario before you start out, I think it helps you set the agenda for yourself a lot. Sometimes this will scare you a lot too. Not everybody is mentally super strong. And as experience grows, you become stronger. But I think it is important to know what is your worst case plan out of the situation. Right? When Josh and Anand were stuck in Ladakh during the year when there were flash floods, they didn't try to first rescue the motorcycle. They first walked out of the storm. And that took them 20 kilometers of walking through the rain and through the flash floods or whatever, but that's what they did. And once they were safe and secure, then the idea that we'll walk back into that situation and see if we can get the bike out occurred to them. And I know that if the situation was so bad that the bikes were washed away and never found again, I don't think Anand or Josh would not miss the bikes or would not miss the money that would be required to replace them.
Correct.
But the priority was themselves. So always, first thing, remove the emotion from the picture and focus on the humans involved. They are the one thing that will be hardest to fix. All of the mechanical parts can eventually be fixed, no matter how tense it is.
If you enjoyed this bit of the conversation, I would recommend heading over to the MotorInc channel, because that's where you'll find the entire conversation, and I'm sure you'll enjoy that even more.